Welcome back, our dear viewers. As we said earlier, that we shall talk about the recent developments in the Middle East region in light of the Israeli attacks and the tit-for-tat attacks between Israel and Lebanon, as well as Egypt's efforts to contain the escalation and reach a ceasefire. To shed more light on this matter, we are delighted to be joined by His Excellency, Mr. Mehdhat Meligi, the former assistant of the foreign minister, and he will be on over the phone. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
We'd like to ask you, Mr. Mehdhat, it's good to have you first. We'd like to ask you, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received on Thursday the U.S. intelligence CIA chief William Burns. How do you see the importance of this visit and its crucial timing?
Well, there is no doubt that the United States wants to reach any breakthrough in the current situation that started since the 7th of October with the Israeli aggression over Palestine, and then it extended to Lebanon and to Syria and to Yemen and Iran and everywhere Israel can reach. So I think this will help the current administration in securing more votes to the Vice President Kamala Harris in the coming election. I believe that it's not now the time to speak about American efforts just to ease the situation, since it failed to do this in the last year. So now this pressure on both the Palestinian and Israel is only aiming to try to secure more votes for the Democrat candidate, the Vice President Kamala Harris. And unfortunately, although the efforts of the United States, what we just heard yesterday about Prime Minister Netanyahu rejecting the American offer, shows that Israel insists to continue with its escalation of the current situation, whether we are talking about Gaza and the West Bank, or we are talking about Lebanon as well. And the war will continue as long as Israel is pleased to satisfy the need to stay in power for the extreme right government that is reigning in power right now.
So, Excellency, tell us more about your evaluation of the recent efforts exerted by the mediators, especially in Egypt, to reach a truce in the Gaza Strip, as well as means of holding negotiations to reach a ceasefire and exchange hostage.
Well, first of all, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Second, I would like to say that the efforts have been continuous from Egypt, and we have even seen a very simple initiative presented by Egypt for a ceasefire of 2 days only. And I believe that it was aiming to show the world once again, even in a simple initiative such as a 2-day ceasefire, how it was rejected by Israel. Because the idea in Israel is to continue pressuring on the Palestinian civilian population and continue with the genocide that it's taking, since actually no serious measures were taken against Israel from the beginning of the war until today. I mean, if there were any pressure from its Western allies, you would have seen a different policy in Israel. But actually, I mean, we cannot even name one country of the Western hemisphere that is sanctioning Israel in any way, to the point that we've seen this even in the European Parliament, that there is no sanctions against Israel. So accordingly, Israel is taking this as a green light to continue to escalate its war. We are talking about over 80% of the civil targets in Gaza has been targeted and demolished, whether we are talking about homes or schools, universities, hospitals, churches, mosques, everything. So over 80% is demolished. The main target of Israel by this war is to make Gaza inhabitable for its people, in order to, at the second stage, fill it once again with settlements And since we have a world community that is totally silent against what's going on, except some sporadic voices, then this is not achieving anything. So once again, we are facing the situation where the Israelis will not stop except when they will decide to stop, because they think they have achieved a certain success or victory. But without any pressure from the outside world. Actually, Israel is showing the world that it's going to take the decision to stop the war when only it wants to stop the war, and not 1 minute before that.
Okay. Sir, can you please tell us more about your opinion regarding Israel's decision to ban the UNRWA and its expected repercussions if its role was hampered?
Well, unfortunately, what we are saying, whether we are talking about UNRWA or what we previously said, is a repeated thing that we have said. Israel do not give any care or any attention to any United Nations organization as long as it does not support it. To the point that they have declared Mr. Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, a persona non grata, a person who is not accepted to enter Israel. Not to mention the Special Rapporteur, Francesca Albanese, who has also been reported as anti-Semitic and that Israel will not deal with her in any way or form. So the idea of banning the UNRWA is just one point in a line that has been adopted by Israel from the beginning of this war and even before that. And that's why we have said before that creating the UNRWA from the beginning was a mistake, because when Israel will ban its activities, it bans its activities only on the Palestinians, since UNRWA is only dedicated to the Palestinians. But if the Palestinians were under the custody of the UNHCR, which is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, then it cannot stop it, because this is an organization that represents the whole world. But as you know, the UNRWA was created because it's not in its jurisdiction the right of repatriation of the Palestinians. And accordingly, it can only help the Palestinians without giving them the right to go back to their homes, which something Israel rejects, because whoever leaves the Palestinian territories is having a very hard time to come back to his home, whether we are talking about Israel itself or the Palestinian territory. And from here, Israel wants to ban any help for the Palestinians. Once again, as we mentioned before, Israel's goal is to make Gaza and the West Bank inhabitable in order to evacuate its citizens to a greater Israel, as they call it, and to build more settlements and to steal more land from the Palestinians. Unfortunately, with the absence of any real pressure on Israel, it is succeeding in doing so. And it is not only on Egypt. Egypt has presented the maximum it could. And it has presented, I even said that a couple of days ago we have presented a very simple initiative aiming at stopping the violence for 2 days only and to cease fire for 2 days only. And nevertheless, Israel rejected that. And here is William Burns, who just came, as you mentioned, who failed in achieving any result in this field. And actually, the Prime Minister of Israel yesterday claimed that there is no viable solution to the current crisis before Israel achieves its goals.
So, Our Excellency, we have seen Israel moving troops from the West Bank to the borders with Lebanon in an anticipation for a full-scale war. So tell us, please, more about your expectations for the upcoming days.
Well, I think that Israel will continue as much as it could to push all the brigades and troops of Hezbollah northern of the Litani River. This was the aim that it has declared from the beginning, to secure its the residences of its own citizens in northern Israel, and that it will not stop before making sure that Hezbollah is incapable of waging any attacks on northern Israel as it claims. Of course, this is a golden opportunity right now that Israel will not leave. We have a very weak American administration, not simply because it's weak, simply because we are in the moment of the American election. And this is the weakest time in every 8 years or every 4 years when there are elections, and especially that we are going to end up with a new president, since Mr. Biden is not going to present his candidature. So we are going to end up either with Mr. Trump or the current Vice President, Ms. Kamala Harris. So in this period, the American administration is at its weakest point, and that's what Israel is using to accomplish as much as it wants from its goals. Not to mention the internal problems in Israel regarding the accusations of the Prime Minister of Israel, who is facing allegations of corruption and also allegation of incompetence since the 7th of October. The attacks of the 7th of October by Hamas was done during his watch, and accordingly the Israeli public is totally unsatisfied with the performance of the Prime Minister. So the only way for him to avoid being ousted from the office is to continue his war. So actually the international scene from the side of the supporters of Israel is ready to stay like that until Israel accomplishes its goals. So we hope that they understand that the Lebanese forces are not going to stand still forever, and that we've heard about one of the initiatives presented by the American is to have around 10,000 of the Lebanese troops in southern Lebanon, which can secure the northern parts of Israel, and not Hezbollah in this project. But unfortunately, Israel, as I said, is ready to continue waging its war on all the what it calls threats to Israel. And now that we are only also waiting for what we think it might be a retaliation from the Iranian force against Israel, which can also contribute to escalate further the situation in the region.
Well, sir, speaking of the U.S. elections, how do you see that, like, the elections are coming up in the next couple of days? How's it going to affect the situation in the Middle East region, especially the ongoing genocide in Gaza and, of course, the escalation in Lebanon? How will the elections make a difference eventually?
Well, the American election, when it comes to the Middle East, we have seen two candidates competing, who is more loyal and who is more sincere and who is going to give Israel more and more. I think this is quite clear. I mean, it's not the idea that we have one candidate that is against Israel and the other one who is supporting Israel. Actually, both of them are competing, who is more devoted to the Israeli cause. So from this side, I don't think that we have a serious hope of actually thinking more about international law and international humanitarian law. Both candidates are defending Israel and are planning to arm it to its teeth. Actually, we've seen over $45 billion worth of arms and ammunition that were presented to Israel. Mr. Trump has a different vision, which he thinks that we can implement, which is to reach a ceasefire based on American supremacy, while the Kamala Harris, the Vice President, said that they can continue their efforts in order to achieve also a ceasefire. But both of them are very much committed to the safety of Israel. None of them is talking about the Palestinians, except in vague words about having the two-state solution without any type to fix this. So from the American administration, we should not expect at this moment a lot. But of course, we have to mention that it's not all a lost case. What we've seen in the universities, what we've seen in the shift of the public opinion will definitely happen in the medium and long range to a new policy of the United States, but not for the time being, unfortunately, since Israel, by its Jewish lobby in the United States, are very much implicated in whether presidential or parliamentarian elections by helping and by giving money, funding the candidates, which is something that none of the candidates can actually do without. And this is what makes Israel always capable of ensuring support for its policy from the American administration, whether Republican or Democrat.
So how do you evaluate the efforts exerted to reach immediate ceasefire in Lebanon?
Well, as we said before, unfortunately, this will not stop before Israel is really ready to, or think that it's ready to leave Lebanon. And we don't really know what are the intentions. Are they planning to annex more Lebanese land to Israel, which is trying to create a new wave of violence in the area, because the Lebanese would not accept having their seized by Israelis, or the continuation of this war until they can really defeat Hezbollah, which we are talking here in a matter of years. We have seen how they managed to assassinate Hassan Nasrallah and then his successor, Mr. Hashim Taqiyuddin. However, we still have other leaders and other power of Hezbollah who is still resisting and actually still causing a lot of damage to the Israeli northern part. But of course, we cannot deny that it's getting weaker. Israel wants to continue until it eliminates any threat coming from Hezbollah. So I don't see actually any initiative valid without the acceptance of Israel, which so far did not show any sign that it's ready to accept a peace initiative or any ceasefire until it achieves its goals.
Mr. Ambassador Mehdhat Meligi, it was very good having you with us. Thank you for your information. It was such a delight. Dear viewers, we will be going for a short break and come back to you soon enough. Stay tuned.